Welcome to another bonus episode of the Real Forno Show. And the inevitable has happened. The Minnesota Vikings have done something at the quarterback position. They have restructured the contract of Kirk Cousins. Now, the details are still in limbo, and we're going to talk about what those potential details could be here. But Ian Rapoport has reported that the Vikings are restructuring that contract in order to create some salary cap space. It felt somewhat inevitable, but we are going to talk about here, as you can see in the top right corner, is going to be producer Dave, and we are going to discuss those potential options. Dave, this is very interesting. Kirk Cousins is on the last year of his deal. He has 2 void years. Those void years total at $12.5 million. So next year, the Vikings would be incurring dead cap. By restructuring, they're going to push even more money out. And with the over $100 million the Vikings currently have in salary cap space per over the cap in 2024, it felt like they were kind of planning for this, but you never want to push more money out unless you have to. And the Vikings are in a position that you have to do so.
Don't like it. Don't want it. But I understand why it's being done, and Rob Brzezinski is earning his pay.
Absolutely. So let's kind of talk through things here with over the cap. Kirk Cousins currently has a base salary of $10 million and a prorated bonus of $6.25 million. That $6.25 million is there no matter what. Kirk Cousins, the player, will have a base salary minimum of, I believe it's like $1.8 million because he's an 11-year vested veteran. The longer you've been in the league, the higher that base salary goes for your minimum contract. Now, what's interesting is he has a $20 million roster bonus that is due on, I believe it's Friday, March 17th. And by next week, 15 million of that will have to be paid. That's the way the contract is structured. The other 5 million you can pay whenever you want. I think there's usually a deadline for that date too. I think it ends up being something like September. Anyways, so there's 2 ways they can go about this. They can, actually 3 ways. They can modify the base salary and turn that into signing bonus. They can do what the Vikings did with Danielle Hunter last year, modify that roster bonus into signing bonus. Or they can do both at once. I have not had official confirmation that is allowed, where you can do both the base salary and the roster bonus together for a restructure, but I don't see why you wouldn't be able to. Odie's got a little plastic cap. I got to make sure he doesn't die. So when you put those things together, Dave, the Vikings can create up to $19.2 million in salary cap space, but all of that money be pushed forward, and then all of a sudden you're looking at $31.45 million in dead cap in 2024. They could be planning on that. And Kwesi Adofo-Mensah has explicitly said that rebuilding is stupid, and he won't do it. So they could be trying to win now while also projecting for the future, which is kind of what yesterday's signings were about.
I agree. There's not the whole let's tear it down to the studs thing wasn't in the works, wasn't the plan. They are doing this a little bit smarter than that, and specifically to set up for next year to open the 3-year window starting 2024. They will be competitive this year, without a doubt. How Kirk Cousins plays into that long term, is this the last season he plays, and then he's allowed to go hawk his services wherever, and then we're on the docket. I think it's looking like we're going to have 100 and something million in cap space next year, and 34 of that will automatically be taken up by Kirk Cousins. Or that may be figured into it already. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting when the numbers and exactly what they did today comes out.
Dave, let's put on your tinfoil hat for a second, all right? This could help facilitate a trade because that cap hit for Kirk Cousins is significantly less. Now, we have no indication that Kirk Cousins is willing to waive his no-trade clause. We have no indications that there have been actual legit discussions surrounding a trade. But if you want it to facilitate one of the easiest way to do so is make that cap hit much more palatable for the team that's taking him on. Say the San Francisco 49ers. Now they signed Sam Darnold. They have Brock Purdy and Trey Lance. But you never know with these things. They are setting themselves up to be flexible. And by doing so, they can essentially, they take on that cap space now. So let's say they pay him out X amount of money. Let's say they pay him out $20 million. His new team would have a cap hit of $10 million for this year, and then you do an extension, and you can increase that cap hit a little bit and then play with whatever you want. That makes things a lot easier for the new team. So there are things that can be done here. Now, will it happen? Probably not. But it is something you need to keep in mind because it could happen. Now, the Vikings, with the Chris Reed news today, he did take a full $1 million pay cut, but he also got $600,000 of his base salary guaranteed as kind of like, hey, you're helping us out. We're going to make sure you get some guaranteed money so you feel more comfortable. That basically, for lack of a better term, guarantees himself a spot on the roster next year because I don't think they end up doing that because they could have cut ties for $250K if they wanted to.
I think they want to keep Chris Reed. It's going to be interesting. You nailed it, and I thought about it at the same time you did. If money for Kirk Cousins gets converted to bonus, that means that's on the hook for the Vikings no matter what. That makes him a cheaper option for any team that's quarterback needy to ask trade for if they are willing, if Kirk is willing to, drop his no trade clause. That is very, very interesting. And it's, we've heard about it on trades before where, well, you got to pick up part of his salary. Well, by doing this, they're picking up part of his salary if that does indeed happen. But like I said, I can't wait to see what these numbers say, how they did it, and then find out, what is Kwesi thinking on this one?
Absolutely. And we're going to find out more and more information, Dave, as time goes on here on Tuesday afternoon, because there are still many decisions that need to be made, including Zadarius Smith, Harrison Smith, and Dalvin Cook, plus the potential of bringing back a player like Duke Shelley, which I think at this point should be a slam dunk, but we'll see if somebody else offers him more on the open market. Make sure you tune in to everything Vikings First and SKOL and USA Today's Vikings Wire, where I am the managing editor. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment. Let us know what you think, and we will be in the comments responding and interacting with you guys as we greatly appreciate all your support on day 2 of this new venture for us. For Dave, I'm Tyler. SKOL Vikings.
SKOL Vikings! Like, subscribe, and ring the bell to get notifications. It helps us grow this community that we all love our Minnesota Vikings. And on behalf of Tyler Fornes and myself, Dave Stefano, thank you so dearly for watching the Real Forno Show. SKOL, everyone!